A young couple named Rob and Gail were so excited to move into their new apartment. They had been packing for weeks, and finally, they were starting to unpack. Rob was carrying in boxes, while Gail was putting away dishes in the kitchen. But Gail was bothered by an old fridge that the landlord had left behind. It was ugly and took up too much space. Rob tried to make the best of it by jokingly saying that this old fridge has technology that new ones don't, indicating the massive motor on top. Gail just rolled her eyes and teased him for loving older gadgets. After a long day of unpacking, they decided to take a break and have a drink. So Rob decided to open the old fridge to see if it had any ice. To his surprise, he sees thick chunks of ice covering the freezer, but he just ignored it and took the ice and put some in their drinks. They sat down and made a toast to their new house. After taking a sip, Rob notices a strange structure in the ice. When Rob realizes what it is, he doesn't seem to believe his eyes. He hands the cube to Gail, asking her to confirm there is something in it. She brings out a magnifying glass, and the two look into it to see a tiny mammoth frozen in the cube. They're both shocked and confused. The little mammoth even has tiny spears in it, like it was hunted. Gail digs out more ice and finds a whole tiny, old-timey world moving super fast. They can't figure out how this is happening. The tiny people don't seem to notice Rob and Gail watching. Later, Rob buries the little mammoth under a plant, and Gail starts laughing at him. When they look again, the old-timey world has changed to a time with factories and big buildings, all built in just moments. Rob is bummed he missed seeing the Renaissance and wonders if the tiny people think they're like gods. Suddenly, two tiny workers complain about Rob and Gail staring at them all the time. Soon the world changes again, and now there are huge skyscrapers. Little things fly around, which confuses Rob, but Gail thinks they might be airplanes. They watch as the world becomes like today's world. Rob laughs when he sees a tiny coffee shop and tries to get a closer look. But then, a huge missile hits the tiny city, and Rob falls over. The tiny world starts experiencing World War III, and it looks like everything is ruined. Rob and Gail see a scary future, but don't seem too worried. Gail shuts the fridge, thinking the war won't end quickly. They tried to forget it by ordering pizza and started having fun, so that they would try to forget the war going on in the mysterious fridge. Later, they're scared to look inside, thinking everyone might be gone. But when they open the fridge, they're happily surprised. The world war is over, and the tiny world is doing better than ever, with flying cars and cool buildings. Then, a big pyramid shows up and turns into a diamond shape that sucks up the whole city. A ball of energy appears and explodes, sending sparkly bits all over the kitchen. Rob and Gail think the tiny people have learned everything about the universe. The sparkles go back into the fridge, and then they vanish, maybe meaning the end of the world. The next morning, Rob and Gail can't stop thinking about what they saw. They check the fridge one last time and find dinosaurs and little apes. They keep watching, amazed by the tiny creatures. This story is from a show that talks about life, time, and space in a magical fridge. Some people think the fridge was left by the old owners, who were tired of seeing the same things happen over and over. The story gives us hope because the tiny world inside the fridge got better after a big war. But it also shows how people sometimes don't care about big problems. The story ends with a future where humans learn everything and become part of the universe, using a special energy to go somewhere new.